My name is Mr. Ely, and I currently teach CP chemistry, conceptual chemistry, and PSI chemistry. I've been at Parkland for around 2 years, but I've been teaching for around 3 or so.
Are there any special or unique projects you give your students?
In our class this year so far, the 2 projects we've really completed that I think both I and my students are proud of are first the Atomic Model Timeline project, where we explore the different models of the atom throughout history. I like this project a lot because I get to see what choices my students have as far as how they present the information. They can make slideshows, they can do kind of interviews or different vlogs, so it's nice to see where they kind of gravitate towards. And we also did a project on radiation, and why I like that project is students get to kind of choose what radiation they want to explore. They'll do kind of classics like nuclear fallout, but also they'll find how radiation is used in everyday processes, like say fire alarms. So I find it interesting to see, again, where they find their interests, whether it's more historical or kind of application-based.
What do you think is the most important topic in your curriculum?
Well, in my curriculum, I think the most important topic is for students to see the chemistry out in the world. So I want to make sure my students see that chemistry is not something that happens in textbooks and in the classroom and just in the lab. It's really all around us. When you're baking, that's chemistry. When you're running, when you're going through cellular respiration, that's all chemistry. So ideally, I want my students to be able to take chemistry outside of the classroom with them. I would say as far as like a skill goes, I want to make sure my students know the scientific method so that they can design experiments throughout their life or call out experiments that are poorly designed. I want them not taking things for granted and seeing the world critically, again, through that kind of like chemistry lens.
What do you think your teaching style is like?
I would say the #1 thing I try to promote is giving students voice and choice. I want students to tell me how they want to learn, what they want to learn, and how they can express themselves. That's, again, probably #1 thing I want to put in my classroom, obviously with a chemistry direction. How does chemistry relate to them? And then how do they want to explore it?
Do you have any hobbies?
I do. 3 biggest hobbies are baking, running, and watching horror movies. Still baking a lot, but a little too busy and a little too cold to do a lot of running. And horror movies now and again.
Speaking of cold, what is your favorite winter activity?
Favorite winter activity? I would say one would be I love going to a coffee shop and reading when it's cold outside, because then it's real cozy, especially if it's snowing outside. And I actually really like shoveling the driveway after a heavy snow.
Why do you teach?
The #1 reason why I teach is because I think it's one of the most important things that we can do. This is something that I found passion in chemistry. I want to be able to give that back. And I think the best way I can is by showing students my passion and trying to develop that passion in them.
This wraps up the interview portion. We can now start on the experiment.
Okay, let's head to the back. One of the classic demonstrations that I like to do is showing how many calories are in a gummy bear. So the idea is that our bodies slowly digest these and give us a little bit of energy. But I guess the question is how much energy is in a gummy bear, and do you really want to take in that much extra energy? So what I've got now is I've got this chemical potassium chlorate. Basically is going to digest this gummy bear super fast and let off all the energy at once. But we need a little bit of air, so my assistant's going to turn on the air to this hood so it sucks out all the dangerous stuff that comes out of here. Okay, and once the air starts and this flame goes down, I'm going to drop the gummy bear in this test tube, and we'll see how much energy is actually in this gummy bear.